Before we begin, I want you to think about something. Not your job, not your goals, not your dreams. Think about the last time you felt genuinely excited about something. Was it months ago, years ago, or can you not even remember? We live in a world where people wake up tired, scroll without purpose, study without focus, work without motivation, and then wonder why life feels empty. We say we are lazy, but the truth is much darker. You're not lazy. Your brain is exhausted. Your dopamine system is overloaded. You are drowning in stimulation. And the worst part, you didn't even notice. Today, I will show you how dopamine addiction destroys your mind, your ambition, your emotions. Let me tell you a story you might see yourself in. There was a young man, not a failure, not a loser, just a normal person like most of us. He had dreams, he had potential, he had time. But every morning the first thing he touched was his phone, not because he was excited for the day, but because his brain needed stimulation before it could even function. He didn't wake up, he loaded himself like an app. Before his feet touched the ground, he already watched 50 videos, 20 memes, 10 notifications, and 3 reels. His day didn't begin with purpose. It began with dopamine, and slowly his life started to crumble in ways he didn't understand. He couldn't study for more than 10 minutes. He couldn't stay focused. His mind kept jumping from one distraction to another. Everything felt boring, even things he once loved. He tried working out. He stopped after 3 days. He tried learning skills. He quit after 1 week. He tried cleaning his room. He got distracted after 10 minutes. And at night, when everything was silent, he would stare at the ceiling thinking, why can't I get my life together? Why does everything feel heavy? Why am I always tired? What is wrong with me? The truth, nothing was wrong with him as a person, but everything was wrong with his dopamine. He wasn't addicted to his phone. He was addicted to the chemical reward inside his brain. This is not weakness. This is biology. This is what happens when the modern world hacks your brain, and millions of people are living the same story silently. Most people think dopamine is a pleasure chemical. That's wrong. Dopamine is not pleasure. Dopamine is the drive toward pleasure. It is the chemical of anticipation, desire, motivation, reward-seeking, curiosity, craving, momentum. It doesn't make you happy. It makes you chase happiness. When dopamine is balanced, you feel motivated, excited, ambitious, driven. But when dopamine is overloaded, your brain stops caring, stops focusing, stops feeling, stops moving, stops trying. This is why so many people today feel bored for no reason, unmotivated, depressed, tired, numb, overwhelmed, unfocused. It's not because life is harder. It's because your brain is overstimulated. Your brain evolved over millions of years in a world with long walks, real danger, slow rewards, deep focus, simple pleasures, silence. But today, you get hundreds of dopamine hits in seconds. Scrolling reels and notifications, porn, gaming, junk food. Your brain was never designed for this. So what does it do? It panics. It shuts down natural dopamine production. It stops rewarding real life. It stops giving you motivation. It stops caring. This is why studying feels impossible. Reading feels boring. Working feels exhausting. Conversations feel tiring. Life feels flat. Because compared to instant stimulation, reality feels slow. Your brain adapts to speed. And speed kills patience, discipline, and focus. Your brain has dopamine receptors. These receptors catch dopamine signals. When you overstimulate your brain, scrolling porn, gaming, junk food, fast entertainment, endless novelty, your receptors become overloaded. Imagine someone shouting in your ear every day. Eventually you stop hearing them. That's what happens to your receptors. They get tired, they get numb, they stop responding. This means you need more stimulation for the same feeling. Normal life feels boring. You can't focus on slow tasks. You don't feel motivated. Everything becomes too much effort. You become addicted without knowing. Your brain literally rewires itself to seek stimulation over meaning. You stop chasing goals. You start chasing dopamine. People think addiction means shaking, sweating, or withdrawal. But dopamine addiction is more subtle, more quiet, more invisible. Here are the real signs, and I want you to listen closely. 1. You can't sit still without checking your phone. If you sit for even 30 seconds and your brain whispers, check your phone, just one scroll, just one notification, you're not bored, you're addicted. Your brain has forgotten how to exist without stimulation. 2. You open apps without realizing it ever opened Instagram or YouTube, without consciously deciding to. That is not habit. That is your dopamine hijacking your actions. Your mind is no longer in control. Your cravings are. 3. You can't watch long videos anymore if attention span has gotten so weak. Your dopamine levels are out of control. It means your brain expects constant rewards and punishes anything slow. For you, keep switching tasks. Quickly study for 2 minutes gives phone. Work for 5 minutes gives YouTube. Try reading gives brain shuts down. This is cognitive overload. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for focus, is exhausted. 5. Nothing feels exciting anymore when the baseline dopamine is too high from overstimulation. Everything else becomes flat. Food doesn't feel delicious, music doesn't feel deep, people don't feel interesting, life feels dull. This is called anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. 6. You're always mentally tired, not physically tired, mentally drained. This is because your brain is constantly switching between dopamine hits, leaving no energy for real tasks. These are the quiet signs, the symptoms that most people ignore until their life collapses in front of them. Let me explain this clearly. Motivation is not magic, it is chemistry. When you wake up and feel motivated, it's because your dopamine is balanced. But when you constantly chase instant dopamine, endless scrolling, binge-watching porn, gaming, ultra-fast content, junk food, constant novelty, your brain gets used to easy rewards. So when you try to do something real, study, work out, clean your room, build a skill, work on goals, your brain says, "Why do this? I can get more dopamine with less effort." Your brain literally chooses fast pleasure over long-term success. This is why you procrastinate, you lose consistency, you lose ambition, you lose drive, you quit easily, you fear hard work, you hate discomfort. It's not mindset, it's biochemistry. If your dopamine is broken, your motivation is dead before it even starts. Discipline means doing what is hard. Dopamine addiction means avoiding anything hard, so the two cannot exist together. Here's what happens. You try to focus, your brain feels discomfort. Your dopamine system screams, stop, switch, escape. You grab your phone. You feel relief. You unconsciously reinforce the addiction. This cycle destroys your ability to study deeply, work consistently, wake up early, follow routines, build long-term habits. Your brain learns that discomfort equals escape, so discipline feels impossible. Not because you're weak, but because your dopamine hijacked your pain response system. This is the darkest part. When dopamine receptors become numb, your ability to feel happiness drops. Think of your brain like a speaker. If you play loud music every day, you blow the speakers. Dopamine works the same way. When overstimulated, sunsets look boring, music feels dull, friends feel distant, goals feel pointless, hobbies feel empty, life feels slow, emotions feel muted. You stop feeling joy for small things. You stop feeling warmth in relationships. You stop feeling proud of your progress. You stop feeling curious. You stop feeling alive. This is why so many young people feel numb, depressed, disconnected, emotionally flat, empty. Not because life is bad, but because their dopamine receptors are damaged. This is something most people never talk about. Dopamine addiction doesn't just affect your habits, it affects your identity. How? Because identity is built from what you focus on, what you practice, what you repeat, what you think, what you desire, what you pursue. If daily habits equal scrolling, escaping, avoiding, then your identity becomes a person who runs from discomfort, a person who cannot commit, a person with weak attention, a person who fears slow effort, a person who chooses pleasure over purpose, a person controlled by impulses. This is the danger. You lose control of your own life. You stop being the main character. You become a side character in your own story. That is spiritual death. And here's the truth. You cannot build a great life with a brain designed for cheap pleasure. But the good news, neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change, can save you. Even if you are deeply addicted, your brain can rebuild itself. But only if you take the first step. You cannot escape dopamine addiction accidentally. You must escape it intentionally, and starting now. I will show you how you can't fix your dopamine overnight, but you can take back control starting today. The first step to escaping dopamine addiction is awareness. And awareness does not mean, yeah, I know I'm addicted. Awareness means you see how dopamine controls your impulses. You notice how often you open apps automatically. You feel the urge to escape discomfort. You recognize the patterns destroying your focus. You understand that this is not personality, it's chemistry. Only when you see the truth can you begin to break the cycle. This moment right now is the moment you stop living blind. Let's start with the simplest and hardest part. Remove or reduce your instant dopamine triggers. Not forever, not fully, just enough to regain control. Here's what you do. 1. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Your brain cannot handle constant microstimulation. Every ding, buzz, and vibration hijacks your focus. To keep your phone out of your workspace, your environment should not compete with your goals. 3. Delete apps that are draining you. You know which apps eat your time. You don't need all of them every day. 4. Keep one entertainment window per day. This prevents random cravings from destroying your day. 5. Stop using your phone in bed. Your brain links your bed to stimulation, not rest. These changes may look simple, but they are rewiring your life one neuron at a time. Most people fail because they try to fix everything in one day. That never works. Focus is a muscle. A weak muscle destroys your discipline. A trained muscle makes you unstoppable. Start with micro habits like 10 minutes of deep work. You can sit for 10 minutes. Anyone can. 10 minutes of reading. This improves attention and internal dialogue. 10 minutes of quiet time. No music, no noise, just your mind. 10 minutes of intense workout or walk. This activates natural dopamine. These micro habits look small, but they rewire your prefrontal cortex, your attention system, your discipline circuit. Your reward pathways. Small wins gives big rewiring. You cannot remove dopamine. You must replace it with healthier rewards. Here's the truth. Fast dopamine feels good now but destroys future motivation. Slow dopamine feels hard now but builds long-term motivation. So you swap. Mindless scrolling with productive reading, junk food with real food. Mindless content with educational or motivational content, endless chatting with deep conversations. If you keep your triggers in front of you, you will fail every single time. So you do an environment detox. Clean your room. A cluttered environment creates a cluttered mind. Clean your desk. Your workspace should feel like a place of focus and clarity. Remove distractions visually. If your eyes see less noise, your brain creates fewer impulses. Reduce digital clutter. Unfollow noise. Keep your feed clean. Keep your apps minimal. Add inspirational triggers, books, quotes, minimal posters, plants, soft lighting. Your environment should work for you, not against you. This is the most effective modern solution. Dopamine detox is outdated. Almost nobody can do it. But dopamine batching works for everyone. Here's how it works. Choose a specific time window, for example, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. All your dopamine activities happen only inside that window. Scrolling, gaming, YouTube, entertainment, reels, shows, everything. Outside that window equals no stimulation. Your brain learns patience. Cravings weaken, focus returns. Your dopamine system resets. This method prevents random distractions, restores discipline, rebuilds motivation, allows you to enjoy entertainment guilt-free, gives structure to your day. This is the ultimate balance for modern life. There was once a man who was completely lost. His life was noise. His mind was chaos. His habits were self-destructive. His days were filled with cheap dopamine. He wasn't a failure, but he wasn't alive either. One day something changed. He looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person he had become. He wasn't weak, but he was empty. So he made a choice. I'm taking my mind back. He removed his triggers. He built micro habits. He cleaned his environment. He replaced fast dopamine with slow dopamine. He trained his discipline, one day at a time. He batched his dopamine control. He rewired his brain with intention, and slowly he came back to life. He started feeling emotions again. He felt excitement again. He felt human again. He became the person he always knew he could be. And you can too. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're addicted. But addiction can be reversed. Your mind is still yours. Your future is still in your control. Your identity can still be rebuilt. You just need to begin. Your habits can change. Your life can change. Your mind can change. Your story can change, but nothing will happen until you decide to stop escaping your life and start building it. Dopamine addiction is not your destiny. It is a phase, and phases can be broken. This is TSA X5, where we rebuild the mind, reshape identity, and stay 2 steps ahead. Until then, stay humble, stay sharp.